All right, so something really cool happened, and I want to take you guys through it. I've been sent a little care package from the good people at, drumroll, Bucked Up Australia. And these care packages are ones that they're actually sending out to retailers to see if they would like to take the brand on, which I think is really nice. Retailers don't always get as much support, specifically the independents from big brands like this. So it's really cool that they've kind of come into Australia, they're looking to launch, and they're sending these little care packages out. It's a classy move, if you ask me. Now, I'm not here to say whether or not we will look to take it on at the NTS, but I thought I'd put it on my review channel and give it a full review as a thank you to them for sending it out, and then use the products in subsequent days and report back on how they go. And that way, if anyone that watches this content that's a fellow store owner or knows a store owner, you'll be able to reach out to the details. I'll put it in the caption below. So, nice little letter here from Patrick and the team at Bucked Up Australia, just talking about the fact that they are able to offer a lot of support, samples and so on. Contact details there, and a Callum von Moger pre-workout Flavour that looks to be launching as well. So very cool. And then inside we've got some goodies. We all love some goodies, right? So first up, Bucked Up Energy. So this is an energy can. This is like a Miami flavor, looks like a tropical fruit punch basically. Cool formula, so 105 milligrams of caffeine, which you can probably see there. So decent amount, not overdone. And that would be compliant with Australia's laws around how much caffeine per how many milliliters of liquid. We've got 1200 milligrams of taurine, so not a fairy dusted dose of taurine in here, which I think is really impressive. And that'll help smooth out the caffeine, acts as a good osmolyte, good for the pump, good for all kinds of things really in the human body, and workout performance as well. Arginine, 300 milligrams, so a pretty low dose of arginine, but look, arginine is effective at relatively low doses to get a pump. Obviously a gram is more the optimal, but half a gram is definitely effective. 300 milligrams would probably still work for a nice pump. And it's clever because you need lower doses of arginine to have an effect than you would of something like citrulline, so it kind of fits in this smaller serving. Green tea extract, 50 milligrams, that's going to keep the caffeine around longer. This keeps catecholamines around, which are stimulants, basically, adrenal hormones. So that's clever. And then B6, riboflavin, and some B12, all good for brain function and so on, energy production. I like that. That's a cool little formula. That should taste pretty good too. There's nothing in there that's going to be hard to flavor in that combo, so I'll pop that in the fridge and report back if it's any good. RTDs are always nice to have in your fridge at your supplement store. And then here we go, Bucked Up pre-workout. So as far as I can tell, this is the base model Bucked Up pre-workout. They have a bunch of them. I don't know how many are available in Australia, but this is the one they've sent out for sampling, for testing. And what we've got is an interesting pre. I would consider this a daily driver, so it's nothing crazy. This sort of fits in with what I like to use at the moment, so I'll definitely test this out. And overall, we've got a pretty good formula. There's a couple things that maybe could be dosed a little higher, but we'll go through that. So first up, citrulline malate 2:1, 6 full grams. I don't mind the citrulline malate variety. I find it a little bit easier on the digestion. And at that 6 full grams, it's plenty of pump for me. So you know you're getting a good pump on this, and they just went straight for a good quality ingredient like that. Then you've got beta-alanine, 2 grams, so a little bit less than the clinical dose. That would still be an effective dose. For athletic performance, it's often recommended that you do 2 grams morning and evening consistently. So this would take care of one of your doses if you were looking for that actual athletic boost. If you just want the tingles for the workout, then the 2 grams is going to do that job anyway, and you will still get some endurance benefits, but a little bit low. Then you've got the caffeine anhydrous at 200 milligrams. So 200 milligrams is a really nice anhydrous dose for me. That's kind of right where I sit. It's enough to feel it and give you some kick and get you out the door to the gym or through your sessions, but it's not so much that you're going to have to worry about being too stimulated or a crash later, and it's a good dose to have for daily use. So this, putting it in the category of daily driver pretty much. And then alpha GPC, 200 milligrams. This is the alpha size trademarked alpha GPC. 200 milligrams is a little bit of a lower dose, but still effective. That would be 50% yield, so about 100 milligrams there of yield. And it's a good acetylcholine source to have in your pre. I think that's enough to synergize with that lower dose of caffeine, give you some good focus and get you going. This also makes it kind of like a good powder, maybe just to have around at your work desk for a little pick-me-up throughout the day if you feel like you're drifting off and need to focus. Cool, I like it. Yeah, there could be a bit more alpha GPC, but it's enough to start doing something. And then the taurine, we've got 100 milligrams of taurine. That's a very low dose of taurine. I typically want to see at least a gram, maybe half a gram in a pinch to make sure that there was some benefit to having it in there. A low dose like that, probably not going to notice a lot of benefit, but hey, it's in there. It might smooth out a bit of the caffeine and provide a bit of, osmolytic activity, good for the pump and, cramps and so on, and hydration. And then 100 milligrams of Himalayan rock salt. So again, a little bit of salt there for a bit of a salt pump and some electrolyte activity. And then we've got estrogen and actogen. Now, estrogen will help the citrulline primarily absorb better and any amino acids in there. That's basically what it's designed to do, so it's a good absorption enhancing ingredient. And then actogen is actually the old name for Senactive, as far as I can tell. So New Live Sciences will have to correct me if I'm wrong. But pretty much that is in there at the 25 milligram dose. A little bit low, about half the dose of, I guess, what's considered the full dose, which is usually 50 milligrams, but that is a nice performance enhancer. I've reviewed this ingredient before. I find it does definitely enhance athletic performance. Again, the dose is about half though, but that's okay. It's still good to see in there in a nice, affordable daily driver, which I assume this would be. I don't know the cost or the RRP. I'm sure that's easy to find out if you reach out to Patrick here. Again, details are below, but I would assume this is a nice entry-level product at a good price point. I would expect to pay about $59.95 for something like this as a RRP for the consumer, and that would make it a worthwhile pre. Could even be at a cheaper price point. It could be at $69.95, and if it is, I would say that's getting a little bit expensive for what you have in here, but if the hype train of Bucked Up is big enough in Australia, it might be the kind of thing you just have to have and people are happy to pay that price for. So I like it. I probably would use something like that. I definitely can't wait to check it out. I'm sure it's going to taste good. This is a blood raz. I can't see anything in there affecting flavoring systems too negatively, and I'm sure these guys have some good flavoring systems, being a fairly large company in the US. And then last but not least, there's this really cool shirt. So I took the liberty of putting it on a hanger. It's got a nice Bucked Up logo on the front. Great to just get sweaty in the gym with something like this, decent quality. And they've put that in the care package. And we've got a nice little America, which is in a large size. And this would be great for just when you want to get sweaty in the gym, just like to rep a brand of some kind. I dig these sorts of things. I almost collect them. So that's really nice of them to send out to retailers. I think that's a great little care package. I like what they're doing. I hope they do well. I don't know if we would need this in our range right now, but if the daily driver niche continues to grow, then we will need more options like this, and that might be a time for us to bring it on in our particular store. Maybe you need to bring it on in your store because you've got a gap in that range right now. If so, reach out to Bucked Up in Australia. Details are below, and I'll get back to you on how this hits when I try it later on in this week. Peace, love, and harmony. Speak to you guys later. Take care. Bye.